I'm gonna be honest, I don't want to. We'll do that.
Why don't you say something else?
She had to listen.
No, please. Babe, it's a conversation, babe.
Andre, what are you doing? What? What are you doing? Too loud here, bro. Andre, we've been here for 2 years. What are you doing? Too loud. Andre, we're building a conversation page. I don't even see it. Please, I can't answer the phone call. Andre, please. All right, here it is. Gosh, you're serious. Yeah. Fine. I'm just supposed to be like a going away today, yeah?
I mean, I'm always excited for like a new chapter and for what's to come. I am gonna miss you guys, and it feels good. Like I am walking more and more towards what is like my life's purpose. I feel like what's called like my dharma. Really fucking enjoyed the past few years here. It's been an amazing time without getting too cheesy, and I'm still gonna be here. Is the see you soon dinner, like you said? I'll be here next Tuesday.
Yeah, that's true. She's awesome. Andre, so personal thanks for how you've helped me these past 2 years, both privately and publicly. I told you like my resources are yours. For a second there, I was like, damn, I should kiss it, but it was just fun.
It's Andre's going away dinner. Hey, George, invite me to the party next time. I'm gonna be honest, man, this video doesn't really need to be too long, but because of my duties as a YouTuber to feed the YouTube algorithm material that it can digest and explore properly, we might go in a few circles here and there talking about things we've already talked about and highlighting a few ideas that have been spoken about before on the channel too. So, we're going over onto the latest episode of the 32 Thoughts podcast with Elliot Friedman and Jeff Mayer, because we had ourselves some quotes from Friedman that go over Pierre-Luc Dubois and the Montreal Canadiens once again. Now, I don't need to do the whole, oh, if you don't know what's going on, here's the scoop kind of thing, because we've made so many videos about this. You know what's going on. You know who Pierre-Luc Dubois is. He is supposed to be a pretty good player, and I guess he is. It's just the guy has been so, I'm going to use the word entitled in the past few years, wanting to go from team to team to team. He's a member of the Winnipeg Jets right now. He let the team know that he's going to go to UFA status in 2024, or that he actually wants to do that, pretty much saying that he doesn't want to commit long-term with Winnipeg. And with all the rumors circulating that Pierre-Luc Dubois, guys from Quebec, would want to go to the Montreal Canadiens, which is the team in Quebec, it has been a very, very ramped up train of discussion that has been going on the past few weeks. Well, a few days ago on the 32 Thoughts podcast, we had ourselves this quote from Friedman highlighting that same idea. This was posted onto Twitter at NHL Watcher. The full link to the podcast will be in the description if you want to go ahead and listen to it. Friedman said this about Pierre-Luc Dubois on the 32 Thoughts show. I think he told the Winnipeg Jets 2 years, and then I'm going to test the market. And I'm with a lot of people who said Montreal. Okay, now this quote is kind of phrased a little bit weirdly. Friedman is saying that there's a lot of people that are with him that said Montreal will be the destination. I think that's the most likely destination, but like I tell people, a lot can happen in 2 years, but we have to get from here to there. And so this tweet, this quote, Friedman's going out there pretty much saying what we all had in the back of our minds, and what I've been saying in the past few videos as well. After that was talking about his desire to potentially get traded in Montreal at the draft to Montreal and be able to shake everybody's hand and wave to the fans and all that. All the rumors saying that he was going to leave the team in 2024, etc., etc. We've been saying this entire time in these videos that, yeah, Pierre-Luc Dubois to Montreal feels like a foregone conclusion at this point. I said it in the previous video, we're getting confirmation now that, I mean, it's not really all too surprising that this is going to be the way it goes down. And even the tweets that we highlighted in the previous video talking about the disaster press conference bring up some pretty good points as well. Montreal has all the power in this situation because Pierre-Luc Dubois is going to be a UFA in 2024 if next year, after his 1-year qualifying offer exception expires, he signs another one of those deals. And if he still really wants to go to Montreal, which we have no real reason to believe he is not going to want to, Montreal can just sit back and say, hey, come to us. We can give you X amount of dollars, and it doesn't matter if you don't like the amount of money because, hey, you're going to play for us, and we're not going to sacrifice anything because we know you want to play for us, meaning that we have all the buying power in this situation. Furthermore, the trade route seems a lot less likely, in my opinion, now, too, because as some of the tweets that we had talked about said, no team is going to go out there and trade for 1 year PLD knowing that he's not going to re-sign. No team is going to shell out significant assets for a younger player that they know is going to leave. And Montreal does not need to be that team that does that either because, hey, they know if they wait 2 years, he's going to become a free agent and he's going to sign with them for free, meaning that they're not going to have to give up any assets. So Pierre-Luc Dubois to Montreal, I mean, Friedman went out there and pretty much said it, and I think we're all kind of in the same mindset that this is probably going to happen, although it will take some time to actually get that done in the next few years. Now, what does this mean for a guy like Christian Dvorak? What does this mean for a guy like Kirby Dach? What does this mean for Nick Suzuki? We will have to wait, I guess, because that's a problem 2 years down the line. That's not a problem today. That's a problem that Kent Hughes and co. are going to have to work on then. That is then, this is now. And currently, Pierre-Luc Dubois is just a Winnipeg Jets guy that is going to go out there and play, hopefully, his best hockey for the Jets and show off that he actually is worth putting butts into seats for the Winnipeg faithful over there. We did talk about his press conference in the previous video, and he was pretty much like dodging all the questions about trades and Montreal and everything. He did say that he was in the draft stands attending the event because he lives near the arena and he just likes hockey. He didn't go into any detail talking about how he wants to go to Montreal and everything. So the press conference pretty much said that he was excited for the next season and all that, and he's ready to play, and you know, it's very cookie-cutter stuff that's not really all too significant in the grand scheme of things. But at the end of the day, Pierre-Luc Dubois heading over to Montreal seems like it's going to happen, and I'm just kind of here questioning how that's going to go down, because trades? No, I don't think so. Montreal can't really explore a trade because they can just wait if they really wanted to. Free agency? That seems like the more logical route, but we have to wait 2 years as to what the Canadians can do with this player. Also, I'm kind of starting to think now as well, we just talked about Suzuki, Dach, Dvorak, and Dubois. I mean, those are 4 centers right there. You're going to have to get rid of one of them in order to keep things going in the proper way. Also, the fact that you're probably, if you assume Dvorak is gone, you don't want to go out there with Suzuki, Dach, and Dubois and have one of them playing your third-line minutes, right? That doesn't really sound like the best way to manage your assets, if I do say so myself. So, hey, I know I said earlier that the Canadians don't really need to do a trade because they can just wait for Dubois to become a free agent and then they can sign him then for free. But if you really wanted to try to extrapolate the process a bit more, you could maybe make a trade with Dvorak and Dubois. I mean, there's a reason that idea was floating around the entire time, and I made a video about it too, but I don't know. Tons of ideas thrown out there, tons of really crazy trade proposals. Kirby talk for Dubois was one that we also talked about here on the channel. But either way, talk in the comments your ideas and thoughts about the Canadiens acquiring Dubois and how it apparently is the most likely outcome. I know you've probably said your piece and your ideas a ton over the past few weeks, but Friedman, it's Elliot Friedman's turn to go out there and say that this is the most likely scenario, and I felt like that was good enough to make another video because, yeah, the scoop, you know, everybody wants the scoop. Pierre-Luc Dubois, Winnipeg to Montreal, actually from the QMJHL to Columbus to requesting a trade to Winnipeg to demanding that he was going to leave the team in a few years, going over to Montreal, back into Quebec. It's kind of a full circle going around here for Dubois and his NHL career, I guess. But either way, ideas in the comment section below. Do you think Dubois is going to come to the Canadiens via trade, via free agency? And if that is the case, what the heck happens to Dvorak? What the heck happens to Doc? What the heck happens to Nick Suzuki? Assuming things stay the way they are, and you eventually get rid of a Christian Dvorak, for example, because he's the guy that's been tossed out there the entire time, what order do you go with the Canadiens and their center core? Suzuki, Doc, Dubois? Suzuki, Dubois, Doc? Do you go Doc, Dubois, Suzuki? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video on Trolls 99. Sorry for stretching the video out to 8 minutes. I kind of had to do it for my job. So on Trolls 99. And why?
Accepting friends. You're welcome for new history. It's Jameson. Listen, I want to steal Irish whiskey. Jameson, why the circle?
Oh, who's moving it? Oh, no. David, what happened?
Have you probably noticed it when you're writing it? What has said, it's all 4K. Some people choose when they try to walk through laws to get people, it's a real wall. You'll walk right into it.
We have a video of my glasses turning into a wall. Can I see this video? Yo, look at his nose. Look at my nose, but look at the videographer's nose. That was the cable.
Can we make love in the video game? Why are you balding in the virtual reality world as well?
You're gonna see Jesus in there, then.
I know there's a door handle around here somewhere. Is that the door handle? Who's the fingers in my asshole? Bro, why are her arms stuck like that? Have you not seen him do this? Hey, man, quick comment. 20 different great things. Hey, don't do it. Just leave him like just said.
I lived here for 3 months. People tell me you will win the fight.
Oh, baby. I'm getting heartburn with that one.
just got over it, dude. Wait, we go. David, I'm going to do this. Okay. I was doing that. Was awesome. What's going on? Why are you halfway into your half hour? What are you doing in my room? If I know to find you, now you can't speak English. Let me know if you like what you see. As you know, I've been through a lot of shit. This is one of the worst things that's ever happened. Because no matter what I do, someone's watching me. I can't even get thicker hair without getting someone watching. That's my girlfriend's bathing suit. Well, I've got her titties. I'd be the most concerned with the toilet one. Someone's gonna watch me shit. Come on, Michael. What the fuck do that? I always thought I was beautiful, but now I know. Plan is to ride my horse butt-ass naked with only this wig on. Literally how I'm opening the next vlog. You're not prepared to see that. Get ready for Monday's vlog. What's happened? David, what did you do? David, why is it raining in the house? David, the light is leaking. Vlog all you want, but in 3 minutes you're gonna have to deal with it. I'm already dealing with it. I was looking up into the light. Why is it coming up? You go to the indoor shower. Oh, whose room is it? Oh no. David, what happened? Oh my god. Oh, shit. Toilet. Oh no.
Like 3 times just for that fucking toilet.
Sounds horrible.
Enjoy your trip no matter what.
How was the day? Good up until right now. My best friend, babe. You want to hide under the car, grab my girlfriend's torso? Do that. You guys have no idea what I went through to make that happen. Okay, Mike and Amara have been fighting all week. We took her on a nice, cute date. They're paddling a swan around the lake, except unfortunately I'm kind of bored, so I'm gonna get out. That's right. Oh, a grown-ass man climbing into a trash can. It's it, Dave. All right. We need to rethink this. How clearly can you see me, Dave? How clearly can you see me? I can't hear. We need to rethink this. Oh, this is the worst. No, I can't get out. I swear to God, I'm stuck. This is the worst prank ever.
I have no idea what I would do to get him to take me on a date.
Sorry.
Now you're here.
The homeless problem in LA is pretty bad. We drive by the highway every day. There's always someone standing underneath it. Today we saw a nice young lady. So we're going to see if we can help her out a little bit. Hi, how are you?
Good, how you doing?
Good, I love your smile.
Thank you.
Here, would you mind holding this for me?
Why? It has a lot of rust on it. I don't know. I'm kind of allergic to rust.
I'll give you this side. Would you mind breaking this open for me?
Yeah, what is it?
I want to set it on the ground.
Put it on the ground. Oh my God, is that mine?
Yeah. Yeah, here you go.
Okay.
The world's going to not everyone's a
Thank you. I won. First time in my life. I go get a room.
I'm not gonna get like mad at you, but I'm like, nah, it's every single thing.
What the fuck is that?
I'm pretty sure I've seen you still got with tips more than you. Are you good for sure? Yeah, because I replayed it constantly. Oh, she's not funny. No. Do you think it's weird how the nipples are like cross-eyed? But it makes me feel cross-eyed. I really hurt my mouth. I think the more genuine concerning thing is the other people who send me DMs on Instagram begging for these boots. I vouch for that. Hi, I'm so uncomfortable. Here's a rumor about butter. No, what's the rumor? Well, I'm not gonna spread it. Last night I watched a documentary about beavers. What happened to the beavers? It's the best damn show I ever saw. I hate you. What do you call somebody with no body and no nose? Nobody's nose. girls.
Okay, I guess it's okay.
Okay, I think you do. The question is, are you ready, baby? Oh my God, damn, shorty. Oh my God! Can we fuck real quick? Ready?
What? Are you serious?
What do you mean? You don't like it? What the fuck? I spent 3 hours on this!
It's really nice.
What's that on the butt? Mine's your asshole hair. The butt hair is a little weird. Honestly, not that bad. Your feet are definitely backwards crooked. It's crazy, dude. Like, I would buy it, bro. I'd probably give it a I was watching a Beaver documentary last night. It was the best damn show I ever saw. Beavers make dams! It was a damn good show! Get in the car, we're going home! As usual, today is going to be a good day. Always. What is it? Yeah, okay, so we dropped the white version of that yesterday. There's not that much time left to get your Death Universe shirt. As you guys know, it's exclusive, like 365, like a year of vlog with celebration. And so that will, in about 12 hours, by the time I publish this vlog, become a limited item. Say, look, Paul, I got myself leaving it. When we move into our new place, I want to buy a mini board. Make no mistake, Evan, though, I am not the board. So get off. Get off. When we run through Hollywood, everyone stares at us. I can't tell if it's because of our hair, size difference, or YouTube channel. Speaking of the YouTube channel, what? Yellow? Not it's garbage. It's not. It's yellow. Are you afraid of intimacy? Yeah, I'm afraid of intimacy. It's not something. Go on, cuddle with her. It's not like a weird thing. You just see this my boy. It's like getting into me, I see. So funny. Okay, listen guys, this vlog is not a brand new. I'm not making any money off the hit movie for this vlog. Obviously, by the title of the hook, you already know what it's about. We also saw this movie with the creepy ass clown. If you haven't, here's what it looks like. Little creepy that. Wow. Anyways, yeah, I'm actually good now. Yeah, I'm actually good now. So you just want to, okay, so imagine, we wanted to do a little clown prank when we get like regular loot and just like set them places, and then dress Evan up in the clown mask and dress me up in the clown mask. Just scare them. It should be pretty good. That's why I got the red theme today, because we're going red balloons, red fish, red shirt, red bumps, and peanuts. No, we got this. No, honey, no, that's not why. We need to educate the youth about sexual transmitted diseases. Yes, you don't keep it up. That is so freaking funny, bro. He's so laughing. Don't do that, bro. It's a legend of water. If there's one thing that I love more than food, there's not one thing I love more than food. This is amazing. We're sitting here. I just got crying laughing. We realized, I could do the smile. It's a hit call, but he touched his lip out. He goes, yo, this Tyson is so good. Hey, Bear! Evan, Bear! Hey, Bear! I can see you, Bear. Bear, you got somewhere to eat? Hey, Bear, Ham, Lincoln, hey, Bear. You got somewhere to be, but what the fuck? Oh. Where you going, Lydia? Are we over here? Oh, yeah. You got somewhere to eat? Get away as far as possible. Get away as far as you as possible. Get away as far as possible. Yeah, you got your mouth. Only one red balloon. Nothing else to say. Happy birthday, Happy birthday. The costume? Oh, what the fuck, bro? You just got me sick! I know! Okay, the tire is flat. Again, there's something fishy's going on. Maybe it's Pennywise the Clown. Probably not. The fish are going down. I know, right? Good thing, though. We thought ahead. Look at this. Tire store, meet us there. At which point we'll run in, we'll drop off the car, get it fixed, head to the farm store. It didn't make sense. Really? Watch this. Okay, Evan. Okay, bye, Richard. Please do in the car. They go, Lydia. Evan's being me. Although we're driving with Evan, it's not driving with Evan. This is me to get to the tire store. But as you see how you're driving, and the video's driving, you're going to use that. See how you understand? Different bunch of sport people. You're not making sense today. That's what it is. Admit your sun level's down today. I mean, like, not as high as usual. That's it, yeah. That's all. Go! I go over here. Why did you go? No, the two tallest people are sitting in the back. Look at this. Oh, you stop. No, we don't. Evan, you're 4'2". Lydia, you're 4. You don't need to be driving. You want to drive? If you could just make a U-turn, please. Got the clown costume. Now we need red balloons. Why do no stores in LA have red balloons? Good idea, Lydia. It's a bad day for filming inside stores. And like, I feel like it shouldn't be this hard to get a bottle pop.
Always good to have flowers at the house. Hey, you never know. When the girl is over and you're gonna have to act make fun flowers for her. You heard that?
Yes, we got balloons. Yo, it is a windy day in LA. Oh no! That's all away.
Oh, no, I thought you could handle it. Yeah.
Back in the crib with the creepy ass balloons. Yo.
Right until you saw the movie, and then the balloon went.
Got the roses. Never know. That is flower pot.
Yep, yeah.
Woo!
And then I think this is the actual mask from here. That is not cool. That is no way.
And the shoes as well. It's gonna be a scary costume, man.
I actually invited a friend over who was here first. Like, it's an actual. You guys don't know that?
Oh, no. Downstairs.
Right here. Right here on the ceiling. I'm gonna hide it right here in the closet.
Yeah, okay, don't worry a little bit.
Yeah, got me something. Let's do use roses. Why? You're Bob. Be a nice guy.
Can I not be a good guy?
Why? Guys at the pop up and everything flowers.
7 flowers!
Who is it? I Yeah, you know, when you said that, I was like, okay, I was pretty dope. Have to get my favorite series. Hello! Come on in, everybody. Welcome to my house. So we're just gonna open doors here. When I hear like there's a balloon flying off. So we can walk in the person, obviously with the balloon, like yeah, close the balloon and then open the door and okay, this is kind of fun. You guys gotta jump down behind there, and then we're just gonna, I guess, kind of have to like set this camera up here. This is gonna hide the camera hopefully. Oh, that's shaking. This is good enough. Like, he's not gonna like check out the rest of the wood. But yeah, I'm gonna stay here.
It's a very, very hot afternoon here in Vancouver, and we had ourselves some news that I thought was worthy to make a video about. It's a very simple tweet, it's only a few words, but this tweet has, what is the number? 2,000 something likes. It's got a whole bunch of retweets and replies, etc. This is what Panyota says on Twitter. I'm hearing the Chicago Blackhawks have been engaged in trade discussions with teams about Patrick Kane. The Dallas Stars are among the teams most recently interested. Now, we made a video about Patrick Kane earlier last week, something like that, talking about what the odds makers in Vegas were saying about his trade status and the likelihood that he actually gets moved. There was a special parlay going on. Is that really what it's called, a parlay? I don't think that's the right word to use because I don't really know anything about betting, but you had the opportunity to bet on whichever team Patrick Kane would end up with should he actually get moved. According to that source in Vegas, we had ourselves the New York Rangers, the Colorado Avalanche, and the Oilers, I believe, that were the most likely candidates to actually receiving Kane in a trade. However, the Dallas Stars, I don't believe they actually were on that list, but we do have ourselves a brand new link between Patrick Kane as well as the only NHL team in Texas. This is a really interesting conversation that got both sides, Chicago fans and Dallas fans, super excited as to what the future could hold. Mostly because, as everybody knows, Patrick Kane is still a very valuable, very talented, very skilled, and very elite NHL player playing for a Chicago Blackhawks team that, as we had noted in a video a few days ago from the captain Jonathan Toews, is going through a pretty rough for the better part of a decade and a bit, but with the direction this team is going down, where you trade away guys like Duncan DeBrincat, you let go of players like Strome and Kubalik, and you bring on Max Domi and Andreas Athanasiou to try to replace these players, you're ending up looking at a roster that has a lot of flaws, and that really is just kind of going through that rebuild, hey, we'll go for Mishkov Bedard type of mode. And it's not fun for players that are on the older side of things like Toews and Kane. Toews' interview from the other day talked about how, hey, because we're going through a pretty rough time right now, it really makes you appreciate when things were actually good, when we were winning Stanley Cups and when we were actually a powerhouse. Unfortunately, Patrick Kane, Toews said he couldn't speak for Kane, but it's pretty evident that Kane might even feel the same way. All the rumors, though, talking about Patrick Kane have been more prevalent than that of Jonathan Toews, mostly because Kane is not the captain of the team. Also, Kane is a lot better than Jonathan Toews is right now, too. Plus, the fact that Patrick Kane in the last season's worth of play actually was still one of the top point producers. He had himself, what was that, 92 points in 78 games played, and he's making $10.5 million a season for one more year. This could be the ultimate rental for any team going out there wanting to add just an absolutely elite forward to their squad. And if Dallas is the team, hey, be my guest, baby. I was already kind of on the Dallas train talking about guys like Jason Robertson, talking about guys like Jake Ottinger and Miro Heiskanen. By the way, all of these players drafted in this 2017 NHL entry draft, winning an exemplary draft for that team. But you take a look at some of the other players that have been thrown into the Dallas Stars discourse the past few weeks over here. We made a video the other day, actually, talking about Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin, and how we had ownership within the Dallas Stars organization go out there and call these guys out again. Say that they need to be better. Say that there's a lot more to give from your top two stars. Sure, the best players and the best line of your team, Rupe Hintz, Joe Pavelski, and Jason Robertson, they're great, but you need more out of the players that are being paid to do more, especially in Seguin and Benn. And so if you wanted to go out there and say, okay, in order to really spark up what is a pretty lackluster duo compared to what we thought they should be able to do and the amount of money they're getting as well, maybe the Alex Radulov replacement is right here in Patrick Kane. You get yourselves a top six of Robertson, Hintz, Pavelski, as well as a second line of Benn, Seguin, and Kane. Goodness gracious, that sounds fantastic. That would have absolutely tore up the league in 2014, 2015, 2016, when all these guys were top 5 point scorers in the entire National Hockey League. Now, I get it, it's 2022, and Patrick Kane is still okay. You have Seguin and Benn who have kind of fallen off over the past few years, too. But could you imagine just how good that top six is going to be? I know Benn and Seguin have been sort of lackluster and they have been falling off, but could you imagine how reinvigorating their overall style and their engagement in the sport of hockey would be if they were playing with Patrick Kane? Now, whether or not a return is something that we wanted to talk about here, you know what, screw it. Let's talk about whatever a potential return could look like. And I'm going to start this conversation off by going over to the Dallas Stars draft pick history. There you go. Let's Google that and go over to HockeyDB because I do like the prospects the Dallas Stars have. They got some very good ones in the system for sure. Liam Bichelle was taken 18th overall this season. You have Christian Cairo as well, who was a second-round Dallas Stars draft pick. Last year, Wyatt Johnston, very good player in the OHL. Logan Stankoven, very good player in the WHL as well. Eric Martino from the Omaha Lancers in the USHL, I'm a very big fan of him as well. Not to mention Maverick Bork and Antonio Strongis from 2020. This team just has some pretty good, very high-ceiling prospects. And if you try to package, let's say, a Logan Stankoven and another first-round pick and maybe somebody else for Patrick Kane, I think that's actually a really, really good trade for the Chicago Blackhawks because at the end of the day, with Patrick Kane being as good as he is, and with the uncertainty, I'm going to go out there and say, that exists with him and his contract, you don't really know if you're going to be able to keep Kane and Toews long term, because honestly, these players and the situation they're in, where the team has been so evidently going down this rebuild path, I would not be too surprised if you have a situation where, let's say, Kane sticks around for a year, he plays 22, 23 in Chicago, and then he's a free agent in next year's offseason, and he just says, sayonara, I don't want to play with you guys anymore. Like, it's just not fun being a Blackhawk at this point in time. I get it. There are probably a few comments out there where he's like, yeah, I'd love to stick around in Chicago long term, it's my home, etc., etc., but, like, can you realistically see Kane and Taves, who are in their early 30s, be willing to go through a 5-year rebuild as highlighted by Davidson? Because that's what this team is going to do. That's what they've been manifesting for themselves with all the crazy moves they've been making. So for Patrick Kane, might as well try to get as much as you can out of this player and this asset before he leaves for free, right? Why not trade him away for a package of a few very good Dallas Stars prospects? Maybe try to get that Wyatt Johnson. Maybe try to get, I don't know, maybe a Logan Stankoven Andor and Antonio Strong, just because these guys could be very good, high-skilled players at the National Hockey League if everything goes right for their development. I definitely do believe that there's a lot more to get out of Patrick Kane at the NHL level, so for a team like Dallas, who is still trying to force themselves into the playoffs and do some damage while they still have Ben and Sagan, wants to go out there and get this type of player, then hey, be my guest. Do what you want, eh? Talk in the comments down all your thoughts about this David Manuel tweet. The fourth period going out there saying that Dallas and Kane are linked. I hope you enjoyed this picture of Charles 99. And bye.
Salad down?